Do you use a Passap knitting machine? Then you already know how quickly dust, lint and yarn fibers build up after a project. And if you leave all that in place, your machine can start running less smoothly, or worse, it may even start to jam and skip stitches. So in today's video I'll show you exactly how I quickly clean my Passap knitting machine after every project in about 5 to 10 minutes. This simple routine helps keep your machine running smoothly and prevents bigger maintenance issues later on. Okay, what tools do you need? You don't need much for this quick cleaning routine. You just need a soft but sturdy brush, something like this, but you can use any brush as long as it is soft and sturdy. A soft cloth. I use an old t-shirt, it's easily replaceable and there's an endless supply. A vacuum, small or large, doesn't matter. This is a larger vacuum, this is a smaller vacuum. This one has a brush attachment, which is just a little easier, but doesn't really matter, just a vacuum. And some lubricant. More about that in a minute. So that's all you need. The most important thing is to avoid harsh cleaning products and be careful with moisture around metal parts. Let's get started. And my machine isn't very dirty, as I do this cleaning regularly after every project, and my last project was a pair of socks, fresh from the machine. I still have to weave in the ends. So a small project that did not leave a lot of dirt, but still I clean after every project. I always start by completely removing the yarn from the machine. After all, it is the yarn that causes the most of the dust and fluff. I clip back in the yarn tension springs and just quickly check that everything is still okay and in working order. I remove the locks and set them aside for later. Next I take a soft cloth and I start with a general clean. I just wipe down the entire machine to get rid of any built-up lubricants and dust and fibers that cling to the surface. I wipe down the yarn masts, the yarn balls, the color changer, the needle beds and the guide rails. Then I go at it more thoroughly and brush away all loose debris like lint, dust and small fibers in all the nooks and crannies. Move your brush lightly around your machine. Try to brush away the yarn fibers and fluff and try to avoid pushing it deeper into your machine. At the same time, I'm using my vacuum to get rid of any dust or fibers that came loose. Set it on low suction and be gentle to avoid damaging any components. Now, I recently got a smaller vacuum and it already came with a brush attachment, so that makes it even easier. Just vacuum and brush at the same time, removing all the dust, lint and fluff. And this tiny vacuum also has an attachment for blowing air. So that's also something you can do. This thing really blows. But the goal here is to remove the fluff and not to blow it into the knitting machine. So first wiping, brushing, vacuuming, and then maybe blowing. And take your time, especially if you've been working with fluffy yarns or textured fibers. In the end, it's only a few minutes extra. For the locks, same story. First I start wiping down with a soft cloth, removing buildup of lubricant, removing dust, lint and fluff. The underside of the lock is where all the mechanics are, and there are a lot of places where dust can accumulate. So I check the underside carefully for buildup. Then I use a brush and a vacuum to clean everything thoroughly. This is also a good moment to check if everything still looks fine. No broken parts, everything okay. Now let's use the blower again. I really love this. Finally, I lightly lubricate the machine. Now I have a general rule of thumb for lubrication, and it is the same for all my knitting machines. So also for this Passap knitting machine. For metal on metal, I generally use oil, just plain sewing machine oil. Or if you can find it, specific knitting machine oil. And for non-metals like plastics, I generally use silicone spray. And when plastics and metals touch, I also tend to go for silicone spray. Be sure to get a good quality silicone spray. You don't want cheap lubrication that gunks up your machine over time. Also, some lubricants can actually damage your machine. So do your research. I have been using this one for years and it seems to work out fine for me. And when lubricating a knitting machine, less is more. This is about how much I do. Just a light spray and just a light drop. Now slide the moving parts over each other and press all the knobs to get the lubrication in there. And that's it, and we're done. And now I store my machine and make it ready for a next project. Checking that all my needles are back to the needle rail in non-working position, so nothing can snag or go wrong. All buttons back to my preferred default. And I like a stitch size of 1. And I like to have it on G, N. Row counter on 0. Move the edge springs to the side, so everything is ready to go for our next project. And finally, cover the knitting machine with a dust cover. Or if you don't have a dust cover, just use a towel, works great too. But make sure you keep dust out of your knitting machine when it's not in use. And that's it. That's how I keep my Passap knitting machine clean and ready for a next project. With just a few minutes of maintenance, you can avoid a lot of frustration later. If you also use a Passap knitting machine, let me know in the comments what's your favorite maintenance tip. A big thank you to my channel members for making these videos possible. Thanks! If you'd like to support me and my channel too, consider becoming a channel member. There are several membership tiers available, just click the membership button below this video. Now, if you found this video helpful, leave a like on the video, write a comment, subscribe to my channel. You all know the drill. Thanks! I wish you happy knitting and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!